you?
Very fine, sir. Thank you.
Rahul, this is Mallika.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, we haven't met personally, but I have heard so much about you from so many teachers that it's almost like knowing you very closely.
That's so humbling, ma'am.
So I think we are good to begin.
Yes, yes. Everything ready from my side.
Okay.
We can start, yeah.
All right. Good evening and welcome, Rahul. It is indeed my pleasure, rather our pleasure to welcome you among us. Not only
is joining us. Okay.
Not only is it a moment of happiness and nostalgia for us, but also an opportunity to reflect on our learning and achievements. Our alumni have established themselves as successful individuals in almost every field of their lives, and we could not be any prouder. So having our alumni back to where they belong brings back a lot of memories. I extend my warm regards to Rahul and invite him to enjoy a piece of his childhood here.
Thank you so much.
Now I would request Harnoor and Shivesh to conduct the program. Harnoor Upal is a student of the 11th class. She is pursuing humanities. And Shivesh Poddar is also in the 11th class and he is doing his commerce. Over to you, Harnoor.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Before that, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening,
All right,
sir.
very good.
Good evening,
Very
sir.
good evening, Rahul.
Good evening, sir.
Especially, Rahul, I think I just saw him right now.
Yes, he is there, sir.
Just a while, just a second. I'm speaking from some kind of a nondescript place. You know, I'm returning from Borpeta. So I thought that the best thing would be to get down from the vehicle, get into a dhaba and speak to you from here. Very good
That's so
evening,
sweet.
Rahul.
That's so sweet of you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Such a pleasure, you know. It would have always been better if we would have met you here in school. But then the present circumstance, as you know, we have opened the gates now. There's no more COVID and you're more than welcome to come back to school and speak to us and speak to the children as well.
Yes, sir. Very soon.
Yeah, very soon. You live in Mumbai?
Pune, sir.
Pune?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
that's great. The
Yeah.
moment I heard about you, in fact, I have heard about you a lot, but this time when it came to this alumni thing, you know, it gives us so much of pleasure to think that one of our ex-students, I think you were from the first batch, right?
Yes, sir.
2012?
Yes, yes.
So that makes all the difference, you know. This is now going to this is going to continue now, and you are the first speaker, and congratulations once again for this.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Okay, from here, the stage is yours, the school is yours.
Yeah.
If you allow me, then I'll carry on with my transit until I reach home. And if I can connect once again with you, definitely I will.
Sure, sir. Sure. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so
Yes,
much
sir. Thank you so much, sir.
and all the best. Thank you.
So we are good to begin our program. Harnoor, could you please start?
Sure, ma'am, definitely. A very good evening to one and all present here. Our Honorable Principal Sir, Dr. Diganta Haldar, our esteemed guest speaker, Mr. Rahul Advani, teachers and students who have joined us live. Welcome to the inaugural session of our talk series, Turn, Talk, Touch. Turn, Talk, Touch is a series of free lectures and talks featuring past SBGJ alumni speakers who are excellent in various fields. Here at SBGJ, we always aspire for success and toil hard for hours together to achieve it. No one could guide us better than our very own alumni who have made it big in their fields. SBGJ Guwahati has always been dedicated to the cause of building cordial relations with our alumni community and training our students for the professional world. Hence, we have Turn, Talk, Touch. Today, we have with us here Mr. Rahul Advani as a guest speaker. Mr. Rahul Advani is an alumnus of our school and an educator with expertise in curriculum and pedagogy for social sciences and literacy. He is currently a lead teacher at ITech Schools, Pune. Mr. Adwani did his bachelor's degree in political science from Hindu College, Delhi University. He was an office bearer in 3 societies in college and was a library and the student welfare secretary for a tenure of 1 year each. He completed his master's degree in development studies from the Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. His master's thesis was a social legal study of the right to education and child labor in the tea gardens of Sonitpur, Assam. There, he was elected the president of the Students' Union. He is also a Teach for India Fellowship alum. During his college and university years, he got a chance to work at the grassroots with NGOs like the Human Rights Law Network and movements like the Narmada Bachao Andolan, amongst others. After a brief stint working on developing rural livelihoods through women's self-help groups in remote areas of Bokaro, Jharkhand, he realized that his heart lies in the field of education. To do so, he joined the Teach for India Fellowship in Pune. At present, he works as a teacher cum teacher coach at ITech Schools, Pune, where they run 9 free English medium secondary schools across Pune city. It is worth mentioning here that Mr. Adwani was a head boy and a skilled debater with a deep command of the issues in his school days. He graduated from Sarla Birla Gyan Jyoti, Guwahati in the year 2012. It was a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker today, who is going to talk to us about working at the grassroots, the public education landscape in India, and teaching as leadership. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Rahul Advani to deliver his speech.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the kind introduction, Harnoor. Yeah, a very good evening, everyone. I would have loved to have some sort of visual representation of my journey, but owing to the busy schedule, I don't have a lot of visuals, but I'll try to keep it as engaging as possible. First of all, it is humbling and at the same time a matter of honor to be part of this space today. Times have changed, but the connections remains as strong as ever. Even today, as I cycle to school on breezy mornings, I hum across the Brahmaputra nestled in a dale, reminiscing the good old days. The last time I came back to Pune from home, I got copies of our school magazine and newsletters as reference for my students. So I teach in a school. We don't have funds enough to publish things like those, but I wanted to get that exposure to them. So I still get the newsletters and magazines from my school days to help them create something of the same sort. It was from the assemblies, classrooms, and stages of SBGJ that I learned how to speak, to deliberate, argue, and stand up for what is right. Today, I consider it a matter of great fortune to be able to share my experiences with you all. So when I was asked to speak about career and career paths as an alum, with a limited understanding of the vast universe of work and careers, you have unlimited options to work on in the contemporary world. But with my limited understanding, I would like to share what it means to be an educator, a grassroots worker, and a development practitioner in present-day India. As shared in the introduction by Harnoor. So there are going to be 3 main themes or sections in the talk that I delivered today. The first one is working at the grassroots. What are the opportunities? What is the scope of growth of an individual? And what are the challenges when you are working at the grassroots in India? Second, how does the public education, so by public education here, I mean government funded schooling. How does the government school sector look like in India, and what does it mean to work towards getting rid of, work towards eliminating educational inequity in our country? And third, our approach of teaching as leadership. Since the problem that we are dealing with is huge, it is not enough to be just teachers within a classroom. We have to be teachers teaching as leaders. Teaching is one of the least aspirational professions in the country. No one knows it better than the teachers on this call today. There is a massive need to shift the perception around this. So my talk will be how I started my journey as a grassroots worker, continue doing so, and what it means to be a teacher for students who come from underprivileged backgrounds. But before I delve into these, I want to briefly share what made me inclined towards the social sciences. Since grade 5, I used to lay my hands first on the social studies textbook and finish off reading the textbook on the same day. This is how much I loved reading about the history of anything and everything, about the Constitution of India, and about politics and economics. When I graduated from school, I was considering two options: either taking admission into a national law university and pursue law, or taking admissions into Hindu College, Delhi University, to pursue a degree in political science. I chose the second one because I was very sure that I loved the subject. I was more certain about it than about being a lawyer in future. It was my time at DU which helped me identify my interests and passions better. It helped me realize my potential, gave me a sense of what I could and what I wished to do or achieve. With this, I would like to enter into the first section, which is about my experience of working at the grassroots. So if you think about Indian history and the present day India has had a long tradition of selfless service, what you in Hindi could call Niswart Seva. From Gandhi's Shramdan to Vinoba Bhave's Bhudan, and from Parijat Academy, a free school that Mr. Uttam Teron runs at Pamohi, Guwahati, to Khalsa Aid's Oxygen Seva all around Delhi and the National Capital Region during the peak of the second wave of COVID-19. Past and present of India stand for selfless service, for Niswart Seva. In contemporary times, there are two main kinds of people and organization working at the grassroots. So the first section, as I said, is about working at the grassroots. If we had to look at what kind of work is going on at the grassroots level, there are broadly two groups of people. The first group that work as pressure groups, social movements, or groups of activists who are trying to work on a particular issue, say the rights of tribals or the rights of the disabled. So they are loosely organized and work as in their individual capacity. The second group of people who are working at the grassroots consist of registered non-governmental organizations, which you in short call NGOs. These are funded by companies such as the Tatas and Birlas under the Corporate Social Responsibility Fund. I would like to share, before getting into what kind of opportunities are available at the grassroots sector, I would like to share some of my personal experiences. So I have had the good fortune of working closely with Medha Patkar and the Narmada Bachao Andolan. Medha Tai, as she is fondly addressed in Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh, spearheaded this movement against the building of the Sardar Sarovar Dam on the Narmada River. The Sardar Sarovar Dam was christened as the temple of modern India by Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India. So dams are considered to be inevitable, to be necessary for the development of the country. But the building of the dam, the sustained resistance against it, the opposition against it, and the damage caused to Adivasis, their lands, their livelihoods, and their heritage, without any sort of adequate compensation, is representative of two sides of India. So when I say two sides of India, on one side, you have promises of 24/7 water supply to city residents and industries, hydroelectricity supply, and beautiful riverfronts such as the Sabarmati riverfront in Ahmedabad. On the other side, you have Adivasis fighting for their right to live and for protecting their identity. A tour across the Narmada Valley, the Narmada River, will show you how communities which once farmed on huge chunks of land, reared hundreds and thousands of cattle, goats, and lived in open hills, are now forced to live in 15 by 15 feet hot tin sheds and work in factories. They have lost their livelihood, they have lost their land. These are settlements where government amenities like electricity lines, water hand pumps, and school have not reached till date. I know it is difficult to believe, but these are places where you do not have the most basic facilities even today. This is the reality which no newspaper or TV channel brings to our living rooms. As responsible young adults, it is our responsibility to go out in the search of this reality, to treat the villages and forest not just as resorts and sanctuaries and tourist places, but to be better aware of them and perhaps contribute to their protection in some capacity. So this was about working at the grassroots. I gave the example of Medha Patkar, the Narmada Bachao Andolan, how they are trying to protect the lives and livelihoods and the traditions of the Adivasis, people who are affected by so-called development. On the other hand, are the NGOs which are working at the grassroots. So just to give you a little background of how NGOs work. So in the year 2013, the government of India introduced something called the Companies Act of 2013. What this law did was, it made compulsory for every company earning more than 5 crore rupees per year to contribute 2% of their net profits on social activities. So any company which is earning more than 5 crore in a year has to spend at least 2% of its profits on social activities. What this has done is, it has opened up a plethora of opportunities, job opportunities for people like us, because there are thousands and millions of companies which earn more than 5 crore rupees per year. All of them have to spend at least 2% of their profit on social activities. And what they do is, they give this money to some NGO, and the NGO then utilizes it to conduct its activities. This is how I get my salary as well. Bajaj Auto funds my school. It gives the salary to me and my team. So it has opened up a plethora of opportunities for people like us. Yes, sir. Corporate social responsibility fund. That's correct. The scope of the work of Indian NGOs ranges from the most basic, such as health and nutrition, sanitation, education, livelihoods, rural development, disability, to the more specific ones such as prisoner rights, rights of the landless, mental health, amongst others. Naturally, it has also meant a growth in the number of colleges and university departments offering courses in social work. So the college from where I have done my master's is specially known for its master's degree in social work, Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Mumbai. These courses with various specializations at the postgraduate level, which is master's, prepare students to conduct research in their area of specialization, get trained in theoretical frameworks, learn skills like impact assessment of their work, and most importantly, get practical experience of working on the ground. This work experience varies from mental health hospitals to slums and from prisons to family courts, depending on the course that you have taken up. I know there are like at least 4 or 5 years before you start working, but just to give you a rough idea of how a job or a career in NGOs or in the development sector looks like. It usually starts at the level of an apprentice or a trainee or an associate role, with a starting salary ranging between 20 to 25,000 per month. Very disheartening, but that is how it works. The starting salary ranges between 20 to 25,000 per month. The next step in the ladder is usually a senior associate position or a program manager, where you continue doing the work you were doing earlier, in addition to managing or coaching a group of 4 to 5 people. As you go further up, you become a senior program manager, and then you start heading a specific team, then you start heading an entire city, the operations in a city, and so on and so forth. Most people also choose to do a second degree from a university abroad to strengthen their skills and get a better package, but that's up to you and when you want to do it. Having given an overview of the development sector and what it means to work at the grassroots, I would now like to move on to the next section, the second section for this talk, which is about the government school ecosystem in India. How do government schools in India look like, and how are we as NGOs working towards eliminating inequality in education in our country? So the public or the government school sector in India and the work being done towards eliminating it is mainly being done by NGOs and corporates. To begin with, I want to share a few facts, and I want all of us to pay real focused attention on the facts that I'm going to share now, because they are disheartening, they are disorienting. For people like us who have studied in schools like us, these facts almost sound like an alternate reality. So there is this organization called Pratham Foundation, which publishes something called the Annual Status of Education Report. So in short, ACER report. So according to the latest ACER report, the all India figure for the percentage of children studying in grade 5 who can read a standard 2 level text is just 48%. So only 48% of Indian students studying in grade 5 can read a language at the level of grade 2. 50% of Indian students studying in grade 5 are not able to read a grade 2 textbook. 50% of Indian students. Now, next, math. The proportion of grade 3 students who are able to solve a 2-digit subtraction problem was just 30%. Only 30% of students studying in grade 3 can do a simple addition or subtraction problem. Only 61% students studying in grade 5. Yeah, grade 5 is when you start learning word problems, when you do LCM, HCF, prime factorization. At grade 5 level, only 60% of Indian students are able to do a 2-digit subtraction problem. The pandemic has further worsened the situation. A study by Azim Premji University titled "Loss of Learning During the Pandemic" highlighted that 92% of children had lost specific language ability for at least one language as compared to the previous grade. So in most Indian schools at the primary level, we learn 3 languages: Hindi, English, and the state language of that particular state. This report shows that in the past 18 months, 90% of Indian students have forgot how to read and write in one of those 3 languages, have completely forgot how to read and write in one of these 3 languages. And we are mainly talking about students who do not come from well-off families like us. 82% of children on average have lost at least one specific mathematical ability from the previous year. So imagine 18 months ago, a student knew how to add or subtract or divide. 18 months hence, which is now, they have completely lost their ability to do it. These abilities include identifying single and 2-digit numbers, performing arithmetic operations, and using them. I personally became aware of this crisis in the Indian education sector while I was conducting primary research for my master's thesis in the tea gardens of Sonitpur district of Assam. Despite 100% enrollment across all tea gardens, the situation is grim and worrying. Now, again, a set of facts from my personal experience. Let us take just one example from the Sonitpur district of Assam. So the Assam Valley School in Tezpur, all of us must have heard about it, is run by the MacLeod Russell Company. Yeah, the same company runs school within its premises, and the government is basically responsible for running them. When I did my primary research in the gardens run by the MacLeod Russell Company, it was startling to see that many of the schools in this garden and many other gardens owned by many rich corporates are single teacher schools. So grade 1 to 5, there are 100 students in one school, few in first grade, few in second, few in third, few in fourth, few in fifth, all of them being taught by one single teacher. 100 students, 5 grades, 1 teacher. Infrastructure wise too, the schools were in a dilapidated condition. This is the inequality that I am talking about right now. After working for a year in remote villages of Jharkhand to strengthen livelihoods through women self-help groups, I realized that my heart lied in the education sector, and that is when I chose to transition to the education sector. Noted economist and Nobel laureate Amartya Sen says that education is an enabling right. It enables an individual to get access to all other fundamental human rights. Right to life, right to health, right to transportation, right to freedom, all of these rights, right to free, right to clean air, all of these rights are dependent on the most crucial right, which is the right to education. It is an enabling right. With this thought, I plunged into the Teach for India Fellowship. It is a 2-year fellowship where young graduates are placed into classrooms of government or low-income private schools. But before I delve into my journey, personal journey in the education sector through the fellowship, I would like to briefly share about the public education scenario in Pune, the city where I currently work. In majority of the schools run by the Pune Municipal Corporation, or PMC in short, the student-teacher ratio goes above 80:1. And I'm not talking about 1 or 2 schools. In majority of the government-run schools in Pune, the teacher-student ratio is 1 teacher per 80 students. Yeah. In the school where I did my fellowship, there was 1 teacher for a class of 93 students. This teacher was jokingly supposed to teach 8 subjects for a period of 20 minutes each. So it's a 4-hour school, and that single teacher is supposed to take 8 classes in every single day, each class being of 20 minutes. There are gaps at multiple levels, and all of these are responsible for the poor learning outcomes I shared at the beginning of this section. The class that I taught, 60% of the students, when they came to grade 5, did not know how to read a grade 2 textbook. So this is the challenge that we deal with. Though teachers working in government schools are paid decently, those working in low-income private schools have utterly poor training and dismal pays. They hardly have any incentive to bring innovation to the classroom, to make learning rigorous and relevant, or to aim for high student mastery. For example, the class teacher of the class in which I taught during my fellowship was supposed to be a vernacular teacher. So Geeta ma'am, who was my class teacher, was supposed to be a vernacular teacher. She neither knew Hindi nor did she know Marathi. So for practically 7 years of their school life, these 93 students were not taught Hindi and Marathi. In grade 8, when they go to some other school, they have to be taught from the basics. The school leadership in most such schools is uninspiring and apathetic towards the development of teachers and students alike. Most of their time is spent on bureaucratic work. To add to all of this is the fact that since most of these students are first generation learners, their parents have either not gone to school or have studied only up to 2nd or 3rd grade. The support these students receive from parents is almost none. No matter how hard they try, parents do not have the time, the energy, and the skills required to support their children. So when the pandemic hit the country, there was a lockdown. Parents from families like us had all kinds of subscription of Vedantu, Baijus, had teachers, amazing teachers like yours teaching them online, had parents sitting on the top of their heads to take care of their education. Our students did have nothing. They did not even have a smartphone to study on, leave alone all of these expensive subscriptions and excellent teachers. So schools do not have exposure to holistic learning, neither physical activity nor co-curriculars like public speaking, performing arts, and quiz, amongst others. Coming to secondary education, so this was the primary education that I spoke about. Pune Municipal Corporation runs 54 English medium schools in the entire city. But the sad part of the story is that none of these 54 schools go up to class 10, none of them. The Right to Education Act is a law which makes it mandatory for for local self-government institutions to provide free and compulsory education till the age of 14 years. Most students in government schools turn 14 by the time they reach grade 7. So these schools stop at grade 7. They do not have grades beyond that. There should be no doubt about the fact that passing grade 10 is the stepping stone towards any respectable job. Here in Maharashtra, even if you want to get the license to drive an auto rickshaw, you need to have minimum past grade 10. So without a grade 10 certificate, you do not have the possibility of any respectable job. Incremental changes are not going to bring any improvement in this sector. What we need is a complete transformation. There is this renowned scholar called Myron Wiener who has done amazing work on education and child labor in India. He argues that the primary problem is a lack of political will. Our politicians, our government simply does not have the will to change the education scenario. Why not is a separate talk, is a separate discussion, which I would not like to get into. But any developed country in the world today spent at least 6% of their budget on education when they were at the stage at which India is right now. And India is nowhere near 6% spending on education. So the first section was about working at the grassroots and the two groups, the activists and the NGOs. And I told you about what are the different possibilities of a career in the NGO sector. The second one is about the educational crisis in the government sector in India and how there are multiple breakdowns at multiple levels. Now I would like to come to the third part and share with you my personal experience of working in the education sector and what it means to be, what it means when I say teaching as leadership. So with this understanding of the crisis in the education sector and with the passion to make a difference, I joined the Teach for India Fellowship. As a TFI fellow, I spent 2 years in government school in Pimpri Chinchwad, an industrial town at the outskirts of Pune city. Parents of most of the students in my class are migrant workers who work in one of the automobile companies or workshops. Their average income is rupees 15,000 per month, and they live in tiny, congested one-room houses. The vision of Teach for India is one day all children will receive an excellent education. So all our work is directed towards that one day when each child in India will have an excellent education. As a teacher in a community such as this, with an aim of helping the children to get on a life-transforming path, it is not enough to just teach or teach subjects or lessons. You have to be a leader in a true sense. This involves building meaningful relationships with students and their families to understand their problems, investing them in the vision that I have them for their community, planning and executing lessons that help them both to achieve their academic goals and also something that they can relate to, and to provide holistic education. Above all, being a mentor, caretaker, because their parents are from 8 to 8 on duty, are not able to take care of them. They have all kinds of negative role models when they go back home, drinking, smoking, physical abuse, and all of that. So we have to be their mentors, caretakers, and most importantly, taking care of yourself, which is the teacher of myself, because this job is tiresome. All of this sounds good and fancy, but every day we start our day with the thought, we will do whatever it takes to help our students get out of the cycle of poverty. This is what we start our day with, and we end our day by feeling tired, but inspired by what we have achieved in the day. Through these 2 years, I planned and executed book units on books like The Jungle Book, The Little Prince. I ran a community center next to my school because I wanted to give them extra hours of learning and wanted to help them get beyond their classroom. I raised funds and painted the walls of a classroom to turn it into a library. We formed a student council, which was missing in the school ever since. I used the exact same oath that we used to take in the investiture ceremony back in SBGJ. I copied that, took the scroll to my school and used exactly the same one. We got the principal and other teachers to help us organize a grand annual day, started a kitchen garden behind our school, and I spent at least 4 to 5 hours every week and all special occasions like Eid and Makar Sankranti in the community with my students' family. That is the kind of connection. Otherwise, they will never have the belief that they can come out of the cycle of poverty. As the fellowship came to an end, my biggest worry was that my students who were in grade 7 will not have a school to go to. They would either have to shift to a government Marathi medium school or take admission in a private school or just drop out and go back to their villages. Private schools charge a minimum of 15,000 just for admission. Monthly fees is in addition to that. This is when I joined an organization founded by another Teach for India alum. The organization is called ITech Schools. We run secondary free English medium schools, 9 such schools in Pune. We decided to open one school close to the school where I did my fellowship. The school started amidst the pandemic. So grade 7 students who passed out of the school, we took them in grade 8. Our school started on Zoom. None of the teachers or me had met each other. None of the students had met any of the other teachers. The school was founded online on Zoom. We were given verbal assurance by the government that they will allot space, 9 classrooms to us for free, because that is how we run our schools, with their support. But somehow the additional commissioner, all the politicians from the ward level to the district level refused to support us. After continuously chasing them for 10 months, we got to know that we are not getting a space. We had started a school which was running online because of the pandemic. We ran 5-hour school every single day, not a single day of holiday for our students, distributed tablets to all our students for free, gave ration packets every fortnight to our students. But at the end of 8 months, when we were supposed to open school in person, we were told that we will not be allotted that space without any reason. That is when we decided that we cannot give up on our students, and the students did not want to give up on us. So in a very sad turn of events, the 9th school, all 8 other schools that we run are free schools. But since in this site, we did not get support from the local government body, we had to rent a space to run a private school, and we collect that amount from the parents, and they are more than happy because they will not get this quality of education in any other low-income private school in our vicinity. So I work as a lead teacher in this school run by ITech Schools. My job is to teach one subject to one grade. So I teach SST to grade 10. The second part of my job is to coach all literacy teachers and SST teachers to become better teachers and become better leaders in the school, to help them get promoted to better positions within and outside the organization. So I coach the English, Hindi, Marathi, and SST teachers. And I also run certain projects like the choice reading program, the debating club in our school. So 3 parts to my role: teaching one subject to one grade, coaching a group of 5 teachers, and 3, running certain projects and programs in the school. It is going to be both a nervous and proud moment for us, as our first batch of grade 10 students pass out in 1.5 months from now. So we are on mission mode right now. Even today, 25% of our students are able to read only at grade level 3. 25% of students in our grade 10 class are able to read only at a grade level 3. For students with major learning disabilities, we provide special support. We have got learning disability certificates issued by the government, and we train them differently to make sure that they at least pass grade 10 and get respectable jobs. So this is the kind of immense effort that goes behind eliminating what we call educational inequity. We are on a mission to create a community of transformational schools which fundamentally empower the most under-resourced children to create a destiny of their choice. It is our belief that our students will make it to and through some of the best colleges in and across India. Our alumni study in universities like the Flame University, where the annual fees is 15 lakh. Our students study in universities like Kriya University, in universities like Ashoka, all on 100% grants because of the education that they have received from ITech School. So it is our belief that they will make it to and through college. They will lead a healthy and balanced lifestyle. They will articulate their passion, their ability, and they will own India's development. with this belief, I continue to work at the grassroots. This is what it takes to work at the grassroots as an educator, specifically in the education sector. Yeah, and I would urge others in this class, in the two batches, to think about such career opportunities, to talk about it to your mentors, teachers, and if need be to me, so that we can have many more such teachers as leaders, not just in schools, in underprivileged communities, but any and all kinds of schools. Teaching is one of the least aspired jobs. So let's make teaching one of the most aspired for jobs, something because it is truly life transforming, nation transforming. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was thoroughly enlightening and informative for the listeners. Now, the interactive session will be conducted by Shivesh. Over to you, Shivesh.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Rahul, sir. So before we begin with the questions, here's just a short question from my side, because I know this is not pertaining to your context, but then it is really killing me to know that what is it apart from the school's 6 rupee samosa that you miss the most right now?
I miss being in school and being on Zoom, because it would have been so much better if it was in person rather than being here. Yeah.
All right. So without further ado, we can straight away move to the questions, because there are a lot of inquisitive minds present here. So the floor is open for questions. People who have questions, please raise your hands. All right, I see Arya's hand raised. Arya, please go for your question.
Sir, you were the head boy of our school. Could you tell us how that has helped you to develop yourself and how we can develop our leadership skills?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. Just a few days back, one of my students was trying to play a rapid fire round with me. We had our debating class session, and he said, "Bhaiya, मैं आपको एक शब्द बोलूंगा, आपको दिमाग में जो सबसे पहले आता है, आप मुझे बताओ." So he said leader, and the first thing that I uttered was commitment. The second word that comes to my mind is excellence. So if I had to say how being a head boy in school helped me, was that it teaches you commitment. The onus lies on you. You cannot pass the buck to anyone. If you are the leader, if it's a victory, people will praise you. If it's a failure, the group and people will hold you responsible. So commitment is the key to being a good leader. If you have committed to something, to a program, to a project, to even the tiniest of things, the onus lies on you to complete it successfully and do so with excellence. There can be days on which you will not be able to bring your best self to school or best self to work. That does not mean that you are a bad leader, but on an average, a leader tries to work at certain level of excellence and be committed to whatever she is doing. So yeah, commitment is something that I learned from from my days in school and from my teachers. All the experiences that I had in school, I saw teachers being committed to molding us into responsible students, sincere students, and that is from where I picked up the value of being committed as being a good leader. Yeah. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much, Arya. Thank you so much, sir. Let's move to the next question. Dia Jain has a question to you, sir.
Yes.
Good evening, sir. First of all, it's a privilege to get to hear from you, and it's so inspiring to have seniors like you. And after listening to you, I've never been so grateful for the privileges we have and the education like we are getting. And yes, it was really inspiring. So, sir, I have two questions to ask you. First, that at times, don't you feel that how can one make a difference in so much? There's so much to do. Like, don't you feel that how can I make a difference? Then what is it which motivates you to work for what you believe in? And my second question is that yes, you were the head boy. Like, how did you manage the responsibilities as a leader and your how did you strike a balance between your responsibilities and other priorities? So yeah, that's two of my questions.
Thank you, Dia. So to answer the first question, I would like to answer it in two parts. The first part being, we avoid having the hero complex. So there's something called the hero complex कि मैं सब कुछ बदल दूंगा, which is never possible. इंसान घर नहीं बदल सकता है, दुनिया तो बहुत दूर की बात है. So avoid having the hero complex. Take one person, one day at a time. One small difference, one day, one person at a time is what makes the difference, slowly but certainly. So focusing on one person, one day, one problem at a time, prioritizing your challenges. There are many fights that you have to fight, but you have to prioritize so that you don't get drained out. One. And the second, from our experience, this is not my personal experience, but from our experience of working in the development sector, it is proven that it is the best approach is always to empower the community. When the community realizes the importance of education, when the community understands the importance of getting out of that cycle of poverty, they will start demanding those facilities from the government, from the society themselves. So the first aim should be to empower the community rather than going behind small changes. So in my role as a teacher, as a development practitioner, we keep having these sessions where you try to make the community aware of the importance of education. So in the next generation, they will themselves take care of education, of their own education, their children's education. So the onus does not lie on you, because we cannot change the world and we are no one to change the world. So yeah, the second part, I'm not sure. It just comes naturally. To each question, my answer will always be, it is only because of the support that I got from all the teachers, from my principal, Anubha ma'am, from all the teachers, many of them who are present on this call. I am forever indebted to them for helping me make that balance and trusting in me. They have always trusted people that you can manage both of these things. Yeah, so it is maybe passion to do things which drives you, which keeps your energy high. I'm not sure. Sorry.
All right.
Yeah.
Sir, it would be worth mentioning that the question which was put forward is the present head girl of the school. So
yeah, so you are already balancing things. So yeah, it is okay if I am not able to answer your question.
And sir, for the next question, we have someone who is continuing to put forward your legacy, bring in your legacy, the present head boy of the school, Chetan Lunkar.
Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So, sir, my question is related to, the times are changing and, we have new things coming to the world every new day. So, when you were in class 10 or 11 or 12, when you were graduating, like, as a student, did you felt that pressure of, the changing world and, what would you do? And if yes, how did you handle it?
Sorry, I was replying to sir's message. Could you please repeat your question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So my question is like, when you were in class 11 or 12, and there's a prime time to think about what we need to do in the future. So did you felt that pressure of changing times, and if yes, what was your response to it? How did you handle it?
If I've understood it correctly, this is about making a choice about what you want to do once you get out of school, right?
Yes, like currently, like I'm in class 12. So, there are new things coming into the world which I'm not able to understand properly. So
Right.
I'm sure at your time also there was some things. So how did you handle that?
Got it. So as far as I understand, Chetan, grade 12 is too early to make a very specific decision in terms of the specialization that you want to do. So after grade 12, the choice that you make is in what kind of field do you want to enter, whether it's humanities, whether you want to continue in the sciences or in the arts or in the commerce field. So that is the primary choice that you need to make, or in a professional degree such as law or medicine or interior designing or one of those. But the specialization comes only once you have completed the graduation and you go enter into a postgraduate institute. So for me, it was very simple, as I shared in my talk also. I loved political science. I also loved economics. And very close to the board exam, someone shared about the CLAT exam, the entrance for law universities, with my mom. And she said, you should give a try at it. I think you will be a good lawyer. So I had three things in mind: economics, political science, and law. I eliminated economics because I was just too scared of math and I did not want to continue doing calculus in graduation. So that was eliminated from the picture. I had two options left now: political science and law. I got into both of them, into National Law University, Bhopal, and political science in Hindu College. But I just had to make a choice, and I went ahead with political science. So similarly, you have to identify in which field does your passion lie, whether it's and the specific decisions can be made later on, after once you have completed your graduation. So many of my friends in Hindu college went to do a law degree after they finished their bachelor's degree in political science. They completed some of them are UPSC officers, IAS officers, some of them are into journalism. So that exposure you get only in college is what I believe. These days, with the current scenario, there is a lot of pressure on students to make a career choice, be career aware in school itself. But I think it's good to avoid that pressure as long as you have some specific direction in which you want to move ahead in life. And if it's a specific professional degree, you know what your calling is. Some people specifically know if they want to do interior designing or fashion designing. If that's something that you're already aware of, computer sciences, then just go ahead with it. But I would always say choose the subject over college. While choosing colleges and subjects, a lot of people fall into the trap of choosing the college over subject. But I personally prefer choosing the subject over college, because subject is what you love, not the college. Yeah.
Thank you for the answer, sir. We request the participants to please keep the questions very short because of time constraints.
Rather, I should keep my answer short. Sorry.
So we would love to hear you speak. For the next question, we have Anuja.
Sir, you are truly an inspiration to us. We are very grateful to have you today. So my question is a general question. Like procrastination, as the saying goes, procrastination is the thief of time. So procrastination is something that most of us, go through nowadays. So we tend to delay our to-do tasks unnecessarily, which tends to give us stress and anxiety. So, sir, how do you cope up with the stress of completing your tasks on time?
Yeah. So there are a few non-negotiables, something that you cannot negotiate with. You have to do it. So I cannot enter into any class of mine without having a lesson plan or a student activity sheet with in my hand. That's a non-negotiable. I'll work at 1 a.m. in the night if it takes need to prepare the lesson plan or the worksheet. Those are non-negotiables. You have to push yourself hard to make sure that you have it ready. And there are other things which you want to do. It's good to do, but is not necessary. For things like those, it is that one moment which makes the decision. So procrastinating depends all on that one moment. I have been cycling to and fro school for the past 2 months now. So that is one moment in the morning. If I had to go to school by bike, I would wake up at 6:45. If I have to go to school by cycle, I would wake up at 6:15. So at 6:15, when my alarm rings, I have a choice and that one moment I have a choice to sleep for another 30 minutes or wake up right then. It is that one moment which determines whether you are following the habits or not. And goals and tracking them definitely help. I don't know if this is visible to you. This is how I track my priorities: newspaper, reading books, cycling, making calls to people. I have a tracker for everything to make sure that I do not get off track on any of these. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. It would be great if you could share the app with us.
Yeah, sure.
In the
Too young for you to track habits like these. Just
all
go
right,
with
sir.
the flow.
So moving on with the next question, we have Sampriti.
Good evening, sir. It is such an honor to have you today. I'll just keep it crisp. I am personally very curious to know what was your inspiration as a student when you were a student?
I read a lot of Kalam as a student. I read Gandhi. Yeah. So these are two that I used to read. Tagore. So these are three that I used to read as a school student. And rest of the inspiration came from the classroom because I was always inclined towards SST. So all of the work that I do today is because of what I have read in 11th and 12th in the SST textbooks and the teachers around me. So yeah, the kind of exposure that you get in school helps you keep inspired and do things. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. For the next question, we have Dishita Sekya.
Good day, sir. I hope you're doing well.
Yes, thank you.
Sir, so as you stated that you have a huge interest in the field, in the education sector of India. And sir, also, I would like to give you special thanks for teaching me lots of facts I didn't know about the education sector before. So thank you so much, sir. So like, it was very enlightening to hear what you had to say from your side on the education sector. So like, sir, now I would like to put forward my question, sir. So like, what do you think as citizens and as students, like how can we take steady steps to put forward the education sector of India, sir?
Interesting question. Pick one student near your house. Make sure that they are not engaged in child labor. Make sure that your house help maybe take an hour every single evening to teach the student, teach the child of your house help. I'm sure all of us have some people working at our houses. You can take an hour every single evening or 3 days in a week to give them the kind of education that they deserve, because the kind of education that they get in their schools is not enough for them to be able to come out of their current life trajectory. So with the kind of exposure and learnings that you have, if you transfer even 50% of it to them, it will definitely be of great help to them.
Thank you, sir.
That is a great suggestion, sir. For the next question, we have Srijita Ghosh.
So to be frank, you just gave a very different perspective towards life, because most of us are concentrated to get a high paid job from MNC. Sir, as you are related to the welfare sector of the society, and so is sociology as a subject, I would like to know how much more time will it need for such subjects like these to develop in India compared to foreign countries?
Great question. So it all depends on the career paths that you have once you have graduated from subjects like these. It is very difficult to say when subjects in humanities and art will start getting the same recognition and respect as they get in some of the more renowned universities in the world. But I do see a ray of hope. Institutes like Tata Institute of Social Sciences, Ashoka University, and good colleges in Delhi University do have really good, JNU have really good schools and departments for the humanities. So it is very definitely on a rise, but I also am worried with the rise of these liberal arts courses because they tend to make you jack of all trades and master of none. So I do see a ray of hope, but it's a long way before research as such. So in these subjects, research in sociology, in history, in philosophy is undervalued in our country. So I don't have a specific timeline to that. But it will definitely take a lot more time, especially with the new education policy, which is promoting a lot more of vocational education, skill-based education. Traditional courses like these are bound to take longer time to be in vogue or to get careers in these. But as I said, with the rise of the NGO sector, with the rise of CSR funding in our country, it is very much possible to get respectable jobs after graduating from courses like sociology, history, political science, and development studies. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Now we have Tanish Shankla for a question. Okay, so Tanishk has texted me, he has network issues. So in place of Tanishk, we have Shrestha Day, who will be asking a question. Shrestha, please.
Hello, good evening. Thank you. Good evening, sir. Hope you are doing well. Thank you so much for inspiring us with your words. So my question is a bit debatable topic. So I would like to ask you, do you think that career options in science is much more vast than compared to humanities or commerce, for example?
Oh, no, never. In today's world, the career opportunities in every field is as vast as the other fields. There are no fields left, basically. So you have science graduates becoming lawyers, and you have engineers becoming development practitioners. The place where I used to work earlier in Jharkhand was full of engineers, all working on the ground in agriculture, in livestock rearing. So the career, the streams have blurred, basically. You have what is in vogue today is multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary. I don't think that's even a point in the world that we live in today. There's no vastness or narrowness left in career opportunities in current day world. You have immense opportunities in whatever field you want to go to. Baking is such a prospering career opportunity. Would not have thought about it like 20 years back.
Thank you so much.
So we are really sorry for exceeding time, but you need to understand it's SBGJ and everyone has an inquisitive mind right here.
I have no problem. I have absolutely no problem.
For the last question by a student, we have Tanish Shankla back again. Tanish, please ask a question.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful session. My question to you is, sir, what is the most crucial skill to succeed in any career? Like, what type of person do we need to be?
I am not a life coach. As I said earlier, commitment to what you are doing. So this is also from personal experience. So especially because in school, I was always a sincere student, but this is something that I realized in college and in university, that if I would have paid a bit more attention to my studies, I'm not regretting anything that I have done in life. All that I'm saying is that I would have had a better mastery over whatever I learned in college and university. I did a host of other things which has helped me learn many more things which I'm applying in my job today. But I could have balanced studies and the other things that I was doing in college and university better, is what I feel. Being a lot of my students ask me, students who are now in 11th and 12th, whom I used to teach 2 years back, ask me whether they should start preparing for UPSC exams if they wish to crack that. Almost always my answer is no, because I firmly believe that one should be focusing on what they are doing right now. If you have excellent mastery over what you are learning, or what you are, it could be a music course, it could be a dance course, it could be judo, it could be your academics, whatever you are learning, if you are giving your 100% to that, all doors will always be open for you in the future. So stay in the present and give your 100% to what you are doing at present, is what I would like to say.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, to take you back to your school old days, we have a teacher asking you a question. But trust me, it is not an examination question. Sanjita ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, good evening, Rahul.
Good evening.
We were not together when you were in school. And today I'll tell you one thing, you helped me to be I was a student today in your session, listening to a very great teacher and feeling proud, to be part of Salabilla, to have a student getting transformed into such a brilliant teacher. You're such a great facilitator, educator. I'm so proud hearing to you. I can go hearing to you, listening to you like for hours now. And I know now why the teachers keep talking about you. Okay, now my question is not a question actually. You suggest me some process through which we can jointly break that taboo that social science, it's a boring subject. People need to learn a lot. We need to by heart it. So how to go about jointly to break that taboo?
Would love to work on that together, ma'am. So a short answer to that is project-based learning. Most of the best schools across the world have moved beyond textbook learning in science and social studies. So in all my classes, I use something called the 5E model, which is engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. So in the 60 minutes, maximum time that I speak for is 15 minutes. Rest of the 45 minutes, students are either learning in peer groups or independently, watching, reading, listening, sharing. So these are 4 active skills that we use in our class. Reading, sharing, thinking, and writing. So based on these 4 active skills, most of my classes do not have me speaking for more than 10 to 15 minutes out of the 60-minute slots. So that's the lesson framework that we use, the 5E model. And all good schools across the world have moved beyond textbook teaching. They now follow something called project-based learning. So they are unit-long projects, and the assessments are weaved into the unit. So it's not one 80-mark or 60-mark paper at the end of the unit, rather 10-15-mark formative assessments at the end of each module of that unit. And everything is one long project, essentially. So I can share the resources and brainstorm more over it. And that is the best way of getting out of this taboo and this hatred for history and all other associated subjects.
I look forward to learn from you a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your question. Thank you so much, sir. So do we have any more questions?
Yes, I would like to say something, Rahul.
Yes.
I mean, we have always been so very proud of you. And today, I guess we have crossed all boundaries. Like, we're extremely, extremely proud of you. And the passion with which you are working today have touched us. I suppose, you know, somewhere down the line, we feel really it's been so wonderful. It is wonderful knowing an individual like you.
Yeah.
No, we've been teaching, even books have not changed ever since you were here also. They're the same textbooks we are teaching, Rahul. And probably there is a line that you would always remember in social science, I'll take you back again, which says India would soon be a superpower and, you know, things would get much better for us in the near future. And today, I guess I have understood that, knowing the fact that India is in safe hands, like an individual like you, working
Yeah.
at the grassroots level, you know, it's tremendous, Rahul. I cannot tell you, I'm absolutely actually short of words. But what I would like to say, Rahul, also is this, that over the last 2 years, we have failed to probably, as a teacher, I realize I have failed to get in constant touch with my students. Maybe I have failed to understand or know each one of them thoroughly. What they have known over the last 2 years are only the gadgets that have connected us. Do you any point of time feel that, you know, we might run short of more Rahul Advanis coming into our societies to help us out of all our problems? This is a very, very important situation where we need many more youth who needs to be sensitized. We're working at a level where you have understood the real India.
Yeah.
Never, ma'am. We are never going to run short of good students as long as we have teachers like you. But on a serious note, it's a dilemma because use of tech really helps us get a good gauge of the mastery of differentiated teaching of which student is where, helps them learn on a self-paced manner. But at the same time, as you said, the fear is real. But thank you so much, ma'am, for the
God
kind
bless you, Rahul.
always your
You
blessings, which has helped me.
God bless you with all my heart. God bless you, and may you do many more. May all your endeavors in future could be as successful as ever could be. God bless you.
Rahul, I'm
Thank you, everyone.
Rahul,
Good evening,
I'm so
yeah. Yes, Renu, please go ahead.
all right. Thank you, Kavita. Rahul, I'm simply overwhelmed to hear you talk about your journey. And so early on in life, Rahul, you've made such a noble career choice, and you've taken a road that is definitely less traveled. And this makes all of us here at SBGJ immensely proud that you, our alumnus, have taken on this mantle of trying to make a difference to the colossal inequities in our educational system and giving back to society at so many different levels, Rahul. My gosh, there's so much to learn from you, Rahul. You truly are an inspiration for us. And may you keep growing from strength to strength. You've really done us proud, Rahul. God bless.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah, Rahul, Kavita ma'am here.
Yes, ma'am.
No words actually. I just want to thank you. Thank you for being Rahul Advani. And thank you for doing whatever you are doing. Actually, in your age, at your generation, we never ever, like you only, okay, confessed that teaching is never a, like, no, most aspired jobs or, okay, career option. But you have enjoyed it, okay, you enjoyed it the way they express it. So I know the children also now know that yes, there is joy in teaching, there is joy in giving. But yes, I'm so emotional today, and I don't know how to express my feelings. And I'm really proud, and I want to really see you in school. We can do so much together. If any help needed, sometimes if you have any programs or any schemes or anything coming up where we can contribute, definitely, please tell us. I'll be ever ready to definitely join. And like Julie and Renu ma'am said, we never thought. I met you in school. You were really very sincere, regular student, and I remember everything, like no, the assemblies conducted, and no, you were very sincere, no like complaints as a student, and you turned up, and then situation changed you, and you become such an individual which we never ever imagined. That was maturity, the exposure, everything. So thank you for being Rahul Advani, and definitely we hope to see you in school, and
Yes,
lot of
ma'am, sure.
blessings. Whatever you do, you be successful. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you
so much, Rahul, Suman ma'am here.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I would like to congratulate to see you in the frame where Mrs. Adwani is also there. Congratulations for that. And one thing I would like to say is that the motto of a school which says, enter to learn, depart to serve. And this motto really reflects on the work or the serving which you're giving to the country. Really, thank you for everything. More or less, whatever I wanted to convey is conveyed by all my co-colleagues. But one thing which I would like to, ask you, that Rahul, where you are now and who you are, have you faced any failure in your life? If so, if you have faced, how did you deal with them? And how would you relate, or can you relate those with today's instances? Any instances in today's life you can relate with them? If any failure you had.
The first failure that comes to my mind is when I was unable to crack. So in DU, in most of the colleges, you have an audition for societies like the public speaking, debating, MUN, dance, and all of those. So I applied to 3-4 societies, and the selection process was such, it's done by students themselves, seniors in the society. I failed to get through 3-4 of them, one after the other, in my first year. And that is when it hit me really bad, that what's happening. I was sincere, I was good in academics, I was doing well. What's wrong with me that I'm failing to get into any of the societies, things that I absolutely love doing. But then I realized that it's not always about your capability or your skills. It's also about the surroundings that change the situations. And I took it in good stride. We started something called mock parliaments. We ran 3 successive versions of that. Similarly, I have contested 3 elections in college and university, never lost any of them, but faced a lot of failures and challenges doing that. So no such big failure as such, because parents and family have always been supportive of whatever I have done. So it's been an easy sail, not an easy sail. I shared the instance of when we wanted to start this school. For 8 months, we were after the additional commissioner, the MLA, the deputy commissioner, the area ward corporators. None of them were helping us. Finally, we had to run and look for 25 buildings in that locality. We searched 25 buildings and zeroed down on one, which was decently maintained to start our school. So yeah, there are a lot of challenges, but yeah, it's no such big failure as so far. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Rahul, and God bless you, beta. And as Kavita ma'am said, if you have any area where we can help you, we are always there. We are always, our doors are always open for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless.
Thank you so much, Suman.
Hi, Rahul. I would like to thank you, Rahul. I remember your farewell day function, wherein the photograph of yours was being displayed over the projector, and at the background there was this advertising score of Hero Motors, which was separated from Honda. Humme Hai Hero, which was being played on that day. So, I mean, heroism does not reflect from outside, it comes from within. And I've been following you through Facebook over the work you have done through your different phases of life till now. I really admired the way you worked while you were in Jharkhand. I mean, I used to get notifications about your work and all. What I believe is if we have one Rahul Advani every district, India would change.
Really?
That's a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely. God bless you and all the best, all the very best. Anything, if you want any help, any support from us, please do let us know.
Yes, sure, sir. Thanks a lot.
So Rahul, we are going offline from Thursday, so I'll get back to you regarding the library query you had. Definitely, I'll get back. And if I may just tell everybody that Rahul is getting married in April. So heartiest congratulations, Rahul. Best wishes.
Thank you.
They're not invited or what?
Sorry?
हम लोग को नहीं बुला रहे क्या?
हाँ सर, अभी कार्ड ही नहीं बना है.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Just date and venue बोल देना, हम लोग आ जाएंगे. Don't worry.
जी सर, बिल्कुल. जी.
All right. So does anyone have anything else to speak? Okay, seeing no raise of hands, let's with a heavy heart, we have to come to the end of this session. But before I become very formal with the scripting, I'd just like to mention that after every praise you've got, or every and the enriched portfolio you hold, you did not inspire me until Kavita ma'am told she is out of words for you, because it takes a lot for an English teacher to be out of words for a person. So thank you for being that inspiration to all of us. And every speech has to end with a quote. And if it's a quote, John F. Kennedy has to be there. So bringing John F. Kennedy again, we have this quote which says, "I think the success of any school can be measured by the contribution the alumni make to our nation." And Sarla Birla Gyanjyoti today rings the highest bells of success, because we have an alumni who has contributing to the nation so well from the grassroots. With this, we come to the end of the interactive session. And from here, I would hand it over to Hindi.
Shivesh, I think there is
Us in the future.
Yes.
In our future endeavors. Your thoughts have enlightened our minds and have shown us a new path. Thank you so much. The audience may not know this, but Rahul sir, we owe you a special vote of thanks for being here on such short notice. We really appreciate it, sir. I would also like to thank our principal, sir, for giving us a glimpse of the real world that awaits us outside our educational institutions. Thank you to our administrative officer, Ambrish Siddhant, sir, for joining us here today. A warm thank you to the teachers and the students too. Now we shall proceed on to our school song. Everyone is requested to rise for the same.
Shivesh, could you please just check if Animesh is there?
Yes, ma'am. Just a second. Animesh is playing the sound, but it is not coming due to technicalities.
Animesh, please check the sound. Share the sound.
I'm having network issues, ma'am.
Huh?
I'm having network issues here on my side.
Okay. Animesh, check the sound.
Animesh, maybe you can stop. I'll try.
Oh, Animesh, send it to Dipali ma'am. She can try.
I think Dia will be trying.
Okay. Still, you send it to me.
Across the Brahmaputra, nestled in a dale, is our school SBGJ. To east east the train shot by, and on the west the sloping hills lie. With the Lord's name we begin our day, striving to be better in every little way. This is the Sarlavir Lagyan Jyoti, where we bow to Goddess Saraswati. Here we learn, here we sing, here we write our destiny. Young and old all wear a smile, for being in a school is really worthwhile. Here Agni ignites the mind, Jal purifies the soul, Prithvi fills the heart with vibrant light, and Vayu lifts us to our goal. Enter to learn, depart to serve. This is the creed we uphold in shaping new leaders, upright and bold. The quest for knowledge begins here. We learn the values the nation holds dear. May the sun shine on us forever, to reflect its glory will be our endeavor. This is the Sarlavir Lagyan Jyoti, where we bow to Goddess Saraswati. This is the Sarlavir Lagyan Jyoti, where we bow to Goddess Saraswati.
On this happy note, we shall be ending our talk show. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and have a great evening ahead.